All right, so you through a little bit of arm twisting, get your parents to bless you joining the military. You go to Paris, you said, Parris Island.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you show up there. From what you expected to what you experienced, was there a disparity? And were there any moments where you thought, fuck, I should have listened to my parents? Or like, what was I thinking? Or was it just like, man, this is awesome. This is what I should be doing?
A healthy mix of both of those. And the great thing about having a calling and a purpose and a mission is that if you truly believe it and if you're going to make it happen, besides just planning and preparation, there's no point in thinking about, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if I hit a roadblock here? What if this goes wrong? Because when you're on a true path and purpose, it doesn't matter what is in between you and that accomplishment and that victory line. So with that said, I'm thankful I was so driven because all I cared about was joining that bigger purpose, joining the military, earning my Eagle Globe and Anchor, and becoming the best Marine that I possibly could. The downside to that is I didn't look up one thing on
what to expect.
What to expect, Parris Island, boot camp, nothing. I thought no matter what it is, I'm going to hit it head on. And so the first serious wake-up call came about a mile or two before you get to the gate of Parris Island. So I guess because I was local in Columbia, South Carolina, that was my recruiting station. I just got on like a little 12-passenger bus with probably 3 or 4 others, and they had a contracted bus driver drive us over there. Whereas I guess, anyone pretty much to the east of the Mississippi or on the east side of the country is going to go to Parris Island, but you're going to fly in and do all these other routes. So since I was local, I'm on this bus, and we're a mile or two from the gate, and the bus driver says, okay, I'm going to need everyone to put their head down in between their legs. I'm like, well, this is not a good start.
Wait a minute. What bus is this?
Yeah. Is it too late to turn around? So we pull up to the gate, and, your mind's starting to race, and you hear the Marine, like my first active duty Marine voice that I've ever heard. And so, he sounds as to be expected. And we go onto the base, and we're driving for a little while. And later I found out that they do this. So if you were to go crazy or go AWOL and try to run away or escape or get off the island, you don't know which way is out, because it's one little windy road through the swamps back to where the Marine Corps base is. So as my heart rate is increasing, we're slowing down. Van slowing down, it comes to a stop. And something was deeply wrong with this bus driver, because I think he did this job because he enjoyed so much seeing people terrified young people. Yeah, because he's like, oh, here he comes. Oh, yeah, he looks mad. I'm like, dude, our life is about to be over, and you're just having the funniest moment of your day about this. And he was not kidding. Sure enough, the van door, and this is no exaggeration, the van door was ripped open so hard, I thought he either broke the handle or this door is just going to continue flying right off the hinges. And of course, he starts tearing into us, get off the bus. And right outside of the bus is yellow footprints. all Marines are familiar with these. Most people in the military have somewhat heard or seen something about the yellow footprints. And they're painted on the ground, and you all get out, you have your little NDOC folder, and you go and you run and you get on the footprints. And you don't really realize it, but that's the first time that you've stepped into a military uniform formation. And everyone's different. Everyone, got their own hairstyle, wore their own, the stupid ones, you'll have that 1 out of 20 that wears the Marine Corps t-shirt to boot camp thinking they're going to get like a leg up, with the drill instructors. Or the worst is when they come with already a buzzed haircut. But so you're all standing there, everyone's individual in their own way. And that's also kind of the first moment where you're starting to become, again, uniform. And you're standing outside of the administrative building where you first enter into and you start your paperwork and entrance process, because you have to do about a week of entrance paperwork and various things, gear issue, before you can even start training or before you even get your drill instructors. So outside of this building, though, it's amazing. It's really powerful. It says, through these portals, past prospects for America's finest fighting force. And I don't know if I saw that at the time. I think it was in a visit after, when I had somewhat of my bearing. And so, we go into this entrance room, and there's probably 7 or 8 drill instructors. And again, these drill instructors, their job is to receive you, to get you set up for success the next 7 days before you get your real drill instructors that are going to be with you for the next 3 months. And I learned my first lesson on paying attention to the details and instructions very quickly. First thing we did, we sit down in these desks that were probably made in the 1940s, and we get a couple of index cards, and they're telling us exactly what to write on each one. And I messed the first one up. This female drill instructor comes over, and all Marines will tell you that the female drill instructors are even scarier than the males. And she comes over and she smacks these index cards out of my hand, and they just blow up all over the room. And so that was like my first, 20 seconds at Parris Island. But a week later, you get your 3 kill hats, which are the drill instructors that really train you and mold you into a United States Marine. And then they have a senior drill instructor who's been on the drill field for a couple of years, more in a leadership position over the drill instructors, to one, make sure they don't get too out of line, but to also, it's really amazing. So, to take civilians, people from all different background, walks of life, from all over the country and world, and to mold them and break them down and build them back up into United States Marines is very impressive. And so these 3 kill hats are the ones that kind of break you down all day. They're the ones training you from the moment the lights come on at 4 a.m. to the moment they go off at night. They're the ones that you're really scared of. And then at the end of the day, that senior drill instructor will sit you down. He'll make the kill hats go away. And for 5-10 minutes, you'll have a little school circle, and he'll say, hey, I know today was tough. He'll keep you focused on the mission, give you just enough kind of encouragement, I think, just to kind of keep you going. And he'll say, they did this because they really care. They want you to become the best human being and Marine you can. And they did this because it trains you to do this, or it will lead, this is the foundation for this later on in your career, or a later lesson you're going to learn in boot camp. And so you don't think it is. It seems chaotic. They're just beating you down all the time. You're doing all these random things. They'll make you stand there for 2 hours and hold a pencil straight up until that pencil feels like it's 1,000 pounds. Little stuff like that. You have to, when you get your tray at chow, you have to walk with 90-degree elbows. You eat, you can't look at your food. And you only get probably 30 seconds to eat. So it's not the cleanest process, but you can't look at your food. You have to kind of eat in 90-degree angles and all these little weird things. But as boot camp goes on and you graduate and you kind of look back and you put it all together, the full picture, everything has a purpose. And it's impressive. I mean, as difficult as it was, my drill instructors and the Marine Corps leadership that I've had allow me to become that Marine that I wanted to be and that I felt destined to become. So, a lot of people, or a lot of Marines, they'll associate, bad or tough times, or not negative, but just more difficult memories and moments with drill instructors, which rightfully so. But also, I always try to tell people and emphasize just the unbelievable job that they do. A lot of times they never even went home. They'd sleep in their cars in the parking lot. And to think about, a cycle, or a training cycle. So the 3 months and 1 week it takes to train a platoon of Marines. At 4 a.m., the lights come on, and they are screaming at the top of their lungs, super intense. By 5 a.m., their uniforms are already soaked to the absolute last thread. And then they're on like that until the lights go out at 8:30 that night. And then, now knowing what I know, they probably prep their uniforms for the next day. They talk amongst themselves, kind of like a debrief for that day. They talk with the senior drill instructor about the next day. So, we're going to sleep at 8 or 9. They're going to sleep at 11 or 12, 1, and then lights are back on at 4 a.m. And they keep that tempo and that energy for 3.5 months, and all the way until the last hike that they do with us at the end of the Crucible, which is kind of a culminating trial and training op that if you complete it at the end of boot camp, as the sun's coming up on that 4th morning of the Crucible, your drill instructors, they're dirty, they're tired, they're soaked with sweat or rain or snow along with you. And for the first kind of human moment of boot camp, they shake your hand and they put an EGA in it and they say, well done, Marine. And it's just, I have chills right now. It's amazing. But Parris Island is like everything in life. You can't have the accomplishments and the good times without the bad. It's a great place.
As you guys know, health and fitness is a big part of my daily routine and my lifestyle. I have a number of guests that come on that, that we talk about all sorts of things, health and fitness related, diet, nutrition, etc. I started taking athletic greens a few months ago here for that reason, is that it's a all-encompassing vitamin and mineral supplement, 75 vitamins and minerals. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you do keto, paleo, vegan. It's dairy-free, gluten-free, less than 1 gram of sugar. There's no GMOs or nasty chemicals. There's no artificial anything in it. And it's just very nutrient dense and gives you that supplementation that you need to combat cold and flu season coming up, to bolster your immune system and just help with a healthy lifestyle. Right now, the subscription, if you sign up for it, comes with a year's supply of vitamin D, which again is crucial to immune support. as well as 5 on-the-go packets with that first purchase. Whether you want to invest in your health or just supplement an already existing protocol that you have, Athletic Greens has been a phenomenal staple that I've added into my regimen, and I couldn't be happier to be working with them. If you want in on that deal, go to athleticgreens.com/mic drop. And they do a phenomenal job at all the things that health and fitness wise need to be done on a daily basis. So check them out. Go to athleticgreens.com/mic drop, and they will hook you up with that special deal. Oh, it sounds like it. It's really it's just neat to hear you describe the process there. Do you know when they finish with one class, do they go, I mean, is it the next day they get a new one, or do they have a few days in between, or do you know?
I know that they get 2 weeks usually.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little more than a few days, which, you know, they need it, their families need it, because during the cycle, and talking to them after, like, I've stayed good buddies with 2 of my drill instructors. Yeah, they were at my Medal of Honor ceremony, and I've gone back to Parris Island and visited the drill instructors many times. But you know, they give a lot during those cycles, so they do get a couple weeks.
Yeah, is it weird going back there in the position that you're in now, being I can only assume pretty highly revered by everybody there, with the memories of what it was like to be a fucking nobody? You know, like there's such a disparity between going through as a private and then coming back as a Medal of Honor recipient. Like, is that a strange dichotomy?
Oh, you're exactly right. It's very strange. I don't feel any different. And I'll go as far as to say that I still get nervous around drill instructors and going back to Parris Island. But, you know, ever since joining the Marine Corps, period, and, you know, especially since receiving the Medal of Honor, I've always been extremely loved and supported by my fellow Marines. Yeah. So even though I do have that a little bit of nervousness, and I just feel like, you know, I'm still graduating private first class back at Parris Island, it's still a great experience to interact with the Marines, and especially the drill instructors, and tell them thank you, and just kind of kick it like normal, just back in the fleet. Yeah.
Were there any surprising or sentimental comments from your drill instructors at your Medal of Honor ceremony? I can only imagine, like, having been a SEAL instructor, the thought of, like, you know, putting somebody like you through and then that ends up happening. Like, was there any talk about that? Like, you know, if we would have known, you know, what you were going to do going through, or I'm not surprised that you did that, or like, was there any kind of back and forth that way with them?
That's a really good question. One I've never got asked, but yeah, we did have some offline conversations, and it made me very proud that they did kind of convey that they weren't surprised just because of how they remember me in boot camp. Yeah. You know, I always tried to give my absolute best effort early on. So when you get to boot camp, you know, you break into these platoons of roughly 60, and just like in the fleet, there is squad leaders. So for every 12 to 15 Marines, there's a Marine that's a squad leader. They do the same thing in boot camp. So the first week or so, they just put whoever there. Okay, you look athletic. You look like you're halfway trying. They put these squad leaders there. But over the next couple of weeks, they figure out who they really want to put there and who needs to be there. And you can always get, you know, that revoked. Yeah, you can always get fired, can change in a second. But a couple weeks into it, I got put as squad leader. And that was, you know, I'm still honored by that. And that was a great and also very tough lesson in leadership, because what they do is, so you have this squad of 15 to, depending on the influx of those coming to boot camp and, you know, where we're at in Iraq and Afghanistan at the time, you know, you can have a platoon of just 50, or if they're really trying to get max numbers through, you know, all the way up to 80. And so say I had 20 in my squad. First of all, you can't do anything right in boot camp. Even if you do it perfect, you did it the worst way it's ever been done, and you're going to get destroyed for it. And if that's just you, okay, like I messed up, I'll take the hit. I'll get punished. But again, everything has a purpose. So to lay, you know, the expectations and kind of the framework of you as a Marine down the road in your unit, operating with everyone as one, they teach the lesson of that kind of we're all one team mentality by, if you're a squad leader and anyone in your squad messes up, has to get destroyed, do push-ups, go outside. A big thing they do is they have these little sandboxes all over Parris Island. And to no comparison, but how y'all as SEALs get tortured with sand and water, they just wait for us to get humid and sweaty, and then they make us go roll around in the sand for 5 minutes, get extra sandy, and then we have to continue the rest of the day like that. And so, you know, whether it's that, whether it's, you know, running that extra lap, whatever it is, if anyone in your squad has to do it, you do too, as that squad leader with them. So the whole squad can be, you know, continuing to do their own thing, and you can be in the front of the squad bay, which is called the quarter deck. It's really just a big square kind of courtyard area that they take you to do thousands of push-ups and crunches and scream at you. But you're there with them. And if they have to do 100, you have to do 100 as their leadership. So it really taught me that, you know, leadership is laced with risk. And if and when that risk comes to fruition, you know, you must be prepared to bear the burden for those that you lead. So that was a really great lesson. But yeah, I don't know how I got on that, but
I was just curious from asking about the interactions with some of the drill instructors, but you know, you answered it great.
Oh yeah. Well, I did have one funny story. So we did have good, serious conversations throughout my Medal of Honor ceremony week. But at one point, and it was one of the first days when all of my guests came in, we did a welcome reception at the Marine Corps Museum in Quantico, Virginia. And I wanted a picture of me, and I was in my blues. I did not have the medal yet, but obviously it was clearly known that I was going to be receiving it in a couple of days. And so I wanted a picture of me standing at attention and my two drill instructors pretending to destroy me again like they did back in the day.
That's awesome.
I had to beg for 10 minutes and try to convince them, like, really, I want this. It'll be funny. It's cool.
Like
I
they
promise.
felt uncomfortable doing it.
Oh, yeah. Like, no, we can't do this. And so it was just a very funny moment where years before they would have been salivating at that opportunity. Yeah. But it's neat how everything plays out.
No, it is. And I think it, to me, what stands out with that is how well it speaks to the reverence that they have for for the Medal of Honor and the recipient process of that, and the respect that they have for you, which is really neat. You've mentioned a couple times that there's a purpose behind everything that you do. I am curious if you ever found out the reason why you can't look at your food. They ever explain that?
They did not explain it, but I've thought about it because that's one of the few things that I didn't really get a clear reason on. And if I had to guess, I would think that when you get into the real Marine Corps and you get operating and you go to dangerous places around the world, you want to be vigilant and paying attention no matter what you're doing. So I've just chalked it up to, even while you're eating, always looking up and situational awareness. Yeah.